To the graduates, to the community, to those who have joined us, I begin with a very ancient greeting, which is Hotep, which means peace. Shalom, peace. Assalamu alaikum. I will add to that Ujambo. I would add to that Matia Vanakam. And I'll add to that Holito and Creston Bonsoir. To all of you, I have to first say, it's so beautiful, so wonderful to see you. We normally would be gathering in person, we'd be in the flesh, but at the moment, we depend on the technologies of communication. Now, the thing to bear in mind is although we're at physical distances, I always stress that we're not socially distant. We're able to gather and communicate and to build precisely not only out of our commitment, but our creativity with these technologies to use them for a purpose much better than those for which they were designed, which is simply to extract wealth from us. One of the things about education that we should bear in mind, and for those of you who would like to see a little more, as far Hussein referenced what I posted about what GCAS is and in celebration of our 7th year, I stress the distinction between certification and education. And we should bear in mind that education is a form of empowerment. It's a form of resistance to forces that attempted to disempower us. And that form of disempowerment is one in which the idea of certification without education dominates. If it's simply about certification, you could purchase that, which as Dr. Mark Stimson properly pointed out, is part of the commodification practices of Euromodern capitalism. But we should also bear in mind that empowerment is also best allegorized by the concept of breath. When we're empowered, we're able to breathe. And what's the point of a certification that disempowers you, that takes away from you the breath of possibility? And so it's with that in mind that when we think through the question of education, we should now begin to understand that education has to prepare us for something much more than simply a set of skills, as Paulo Freire would say, banknotes. This is part of the spirit of GCAS. One of the things I love about GCAS is that although we may have a program, although we may have a plan, you don't really know what's going to happen when you show up. And that's because part of the education is also how we bring our creativity together to deal with the unknown. If you lack the capacity to deal with the unknown, then your formal education has failed you. Now, this meeting is formally granting certification, true, but make no mistake that this is a certification that's matched by education. Its goal is for you to understand that it's being conferred on you by a community that understands ultimately what dealing with those unknowns is about. And there are many ways in which people will present this, but I'm just going to here very briefly just state a small set of virtues that you should bear in mind. It's no accident, for instance, that we talk about truth, because as we know, we're in an age in which truth is under attack. And also, many of us, even those of us who study truth, forget that truth has its origins in concepts of faith and disclosure. And this means that it is connected to dealing always with the unknown, through which we deal and address the precarity of life. So we should think about virtues of love, compassion, courage, excellence, and respect. Sometimes my children have asked me ultimately, what do I expect for them in life? And I often say, I expect for you to be a good human being. But a lot of people, when we think about what a good human being is, A good human being is a human being who knows how to love, not narcissistic love, where you're loving a reproduction of yourself to see yourself in the mirror, but genuine radical love, the elation in the freedom of others. There's also compassion. As we know right now, we're living under regimes that relish in cruelty, but cruelty withers growth. Compassion understands that people have the capacity to grow despite their mistakes. But to do this requires courage, because you see, courage is when we bring ourselves to deal with our fears as we step forth to reach out to others. And excellence and respect, well, this is one of the reasons you're here, because you're part not only of a community that respects you, but we also understand that we have faith in you to carry the torch of excellence. We meet today in this through these technological resources because of the multiple pandemics and others. Many of you have heard me speak in other contexts where I talk about the pandemics of rapacious capitalism, racism, continued enslavement, etc. And all of those stoke the precarity of life and create vulnerabilities. Well, part of GCAS is to empower you to help others grow and have the strength to press on despite those vulnerabilities. Why are we here? Why do we seek our education? Why do we seek our empowerment? Because at the end of the day, a commitment through radical life, radical love, is the understanding that we must. So to our students, to our faculty, to the families, to everybody who's joined us today. Also to our modest donors, because you see, our donors are us. It's not only those who give money to us, but it's those who teach us everything from composting. Yes, yes, Dr. Stimson, I'm an avid composter. All the way through the insights of how to create affordable housing, which is one of the moments through which I fell in love with Walter South, because of how he was able to dedicate that to the understanding that human beings need homes. And so I conclude by simply pointing out that freedom is meaningless without a home. A home is a place in which you belong, and a place in which you belong is a place that nourishes you and enables you to flourish. As you step forth in dealing with these challenges in life to come, I want you to know, I want you to understand that we, the community of GCAS, is part of your home. Thank you.